Well, who actually had the title Christ. Yeah. Here's Michael Francisco. That's Queen Victoria's great-great-great-great-grandson. And he's got the walking stick of King John II of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and all Ireland, Prince Marcus Manuel, who actually had the title Christ. It was one of his titles. So Prince Marcus Manuel, King John II of the United Kingdom, had the title Christ, and a Templar Grand Master who has achieved gnosis or knowing is allowed to use the title Christ, but none have because they knew of Prince Marcus Manuel. This is my balcony of my hotel room, and the castle that I was to hold the sword up to is in the skyline up here, and that's Moorish Castle. And Moorish is the root word of mulberry, and King David hid under a mulberry tree twice. So by holding up arguably the highest sword in the world up to Moorish Castle, it was my initiation into the House of David via secondary means, which the Bible says via the bowels, but it means via circumstance and via initiation.
Stunning.
Yeah. There's me with a walking stick. There's me with the King of England's walking stick. There's me receiving this royal mark here. That's the castle. And this is Moorish Castle here on the right-hand side. So it's got an aspect of giants about it. And there's the nice sunset photo, the light shining through the glass like a holy grail. So that kind of means that I'm the King of New Zealand, or rather Prince Regent Duke Governor of New Zealand. And I have a mark here of the Prince Regent Duke Governor of the Ports of the Algarve. That's looking promising.
You were a threat to established authority. I mean, is there any prospect of your being so recognized by New Zealand?
What happens is the Holy Grail holds the values during the tribulations, and then ultimately that person's values become the values of the next age, the next long year, which is about 2,160 years. Socialism is about absolutely no values. Socialism has no values. It doesn't value anything. Socialism was brought in at the end times New Age changeover to attack the Holy Grail, to try and stop the predictions about the Holy Grail and the Son of Man from manifesting.
Presumably that can't work.
Well, that's what socialism is, and most governments are now socialist. Most governments have absolutely no values at all. All will be answered. All will be answered.
This is just overwhelming. I mean, the detail, the thoroughness of your documentation. I mean, I cannot imagine an alternative interpretation that could encompass all of these data points.
Part of the test of kingship is, can you get all of this into some reasonable...
coherent narrative.
Yeah, exactly. So here's a coherent narrative. So this is Sir Walter Raleigh, and in July 1596, he went to the cave that I lived in the Algarve. Then he went back, he translated the book, and he summarized it in a one-page sketch called the Rosicrucian Cosmography. In it, on the top left corner, you can see in white, it's got colon 604.
Yeah, yes.
Boy with a snake. Now, 604 was the year that Pope St. Gregory the Great died. The number that they used to signify people was their death year, not their birth year, because often there weren't birth records. So 604 means Gregory, and the colon means second name Gregory. My name's Joseph Gregory. So by having colon 604, they're naming me.
Do continue.
What I've done here is I've mirrored the images.
I like it.
Colon 604, and then Pope St. Gregory the Great. And then mirrored on the other side, colon 604 reads as cross or plus AD1 or AD colon.
Just fascinating.
So if we look, it's got the name of God up here, Yahweh, and in Christian context, God is the Father, Jesus is the brother. So the Father, and the Father's name, Jesus' father's name is Joseph, so that's code for Joseph. And Joseph is considered the highest name. And here it's written high up on the page. So here you've got colon 604, and then in reverse, it's AD1, as though the person called Joseph with the second name Gregory was going to represent the New Age.
You represent a new age, my friend. You represent a new age, my friend. You represent a new age, my friend.
See the star here, it's got a circle in it. And I've got written Prince Regent Duke Governor.
Yes.
This is the mark that exactly fits that.
Ah. Yes.
And this is the mark of the Prince Regent Duke Governor of Portugal, which means to be king of. And then for the other side, male and female Sangreal gave me this royal mark before I saw this Rosicrucian cosmography and before I represented the end times and New Age, which is very interesting. Now, here's the view from the cave, and you see the Noah's Ark here on top of this rock, on top of this cliff, pointy rock on the right-hand side.
Oh, yes, sure, yes.
See that straight but on the right-hand side of it on an angle? And you see how this rock here is exactly the same?
How